Hi! Welcome back to my channel! Today, we'll be discussing Return of the Prince by Junko. Before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiling this manga, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. For those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to incest, age gap, fat shaming, self-deprecation, overwork, bullying, violence, homomesia, and sexual assault, as these things do appear in the manga. But if that's okay with you, let's go and get started. This is a collection of 3 BL shorts by Junko. Each will have its own separate synopsis, and the first one is Return of the Prince plus A Ring's Tale. Adult life isn't all it's made out to be for Ko. He works all the time and is constantly berated by his boss and ends up home alone. While at a relative's wedding, as if to rub salt in his wound, Ko runs into his cousin Fumihiro, whom he always picked on in their childhood. But as an adult, Fumihiro has become a handsome prince, and is charismatic on top of that, causing all of their mutual family members to compare them, often leading to insults toward Ko. Frustrated, Ko takes advantage of the festivities and drinks himself silly. Fumihiro offers to care for Ko, leading to a steamy liaison between the two. Though it was only meant to be a one-night stand, Fumihiro seems to have no intention of leaving. Next is Metamorphosis. Ritsu Kitigama and Yasuhiro Adachi have been friends for as long as they can remember. Ritsu has always been quiet and considered a bit odd by those around him, but Yasuhiro cares for him all the same. Nothing has changed, even in high school. Or so Yasuhiro thinks. While walking around campus, Yasuhiro sees Ritsu in a screaming match with someone, even going so far as to threaten to fight them. Yasuhiro doesn't even recognize Ritsu. Although Yasuhiro doesn't want to believe it, Ritsu has changed. But has Yasuhiro? Finally, beside him, Hajime believes his best friend Shimizu might be in love with him, and in realizing this, he finds that he's in love with him too. But then Shimizu comes to school announcing that he has a new girlfriend, and though Hajime believes Shimizu doesn't really love the girl, over time he discovers that Shimizu never loved him in the first place. Heartbroken, he goes to their mutual friend Hachiya for comfort, only for Hachiya to admit that he loves Hajime. But Hajime still loves Shimizu. What will this mean for their friendship? To start with, as usual, Junko's art is very recognizable. I'd say the style of this is much closer to Mr. Minimart than it is to Kiss Him Not Me, but it's still very much classic Junko. I do like it way more than Kiss Him Not Me, and in some cases more than Mr. Minimart. The third story in particular has very heavy clean lines, something that isn't very common in later Junko work. Even considering that third story, overall Junko's work is very sketchy, so if you need clean art, Junko might not be your cup of tea. However, I implore you to try it because these stories feature intense expressions and emotional panels that are worth seeing, whether the style suits your preference or not. Of the 3 titles, I prefer the first and titular title, Return of the Prince, with the bonus story A Ring's Tale. It isn't necessarily the most fleshed out. Really none of them are that fleshed out, being shorts, but they all successfully achieve what they set out to do, that being to show all manner of love, but maybe none as successfully as the main story. This is technically incest, as the pair are cousins, but the familial relationship feels rather distant, so I'm not sure how close of cousins they actually are. Thankfully, it doesn't play a significant role beyond establishing how the two know each other and how they end up finding each other again. Though I do think this could have been achieved in some other way, but whatever. But I love this particular story so much in this collection because of how easily Fumihiro integrates himself into Ko's life. It starts as a one-night stand, but then Fumihiro just never leaves, and something about that concept really speaks to me. Then Ko is being degraded at work, day in and day out, ultimately feeling he isn't worthy of Fumihiro's devotion. But, of course, Fumihiro proves Ko wrong, telling Ko that he's loved him forever and will love him forever. And I just adore that level of care and commitment. It hits all the right romantic spots. My second favorite story also happens to be the second story we get. Metamorphosis takes place in high school with a perceived love triangle. This one centers on one of my favorite BL tropes, the childhood friends. And as the name suggests, we see these childhood friends change and grow, finding themselves along the way. But what really changes is the relationship. Ritsu and Yasuhiro have been friends forever, and as far as Yasuhiro knows, he knows everything about Ritsu. But as he inadvertently finds out, The meek Ritsu isn't so meek anymore, shocking Yasuhiro. Ritsu has grown as a person, but Yasuhiro's perception of him hasn't grown to match. Then when Yasuhiro finds out Ritsu likes boys and presumably is in a relationship with another classmate, he discovers that he doesn't know himself either. Change is the name of the game in the story and permeates every aspect of it. It's soft and gentle with a heavy dose of misunderstanding, but really nice character growth and romance by the end. It's a good time. Finally, my least favorite is the third title, though to be clear, it isn't bad. This is more of a true love triangle between three friends than the previous short, and I really like it for that reason. I especially like that Hajime truly believes Shimizu loves him, even when he gets a girlfriend. So much so that he tries to prove it to himself by monopolizing all of Shimizu's time, only for Shimizu to invite his girlfriend. That self-conscious yet arrogant belief in Shimizu's reciprocated feelings for Hajime is just so true to the teenage experience. Hajime is simultaneously cocky, but also nervous, which is a sad and honest reflection of how most of us are during that time, at least for my teenage experience. Then when Hachiya confesses his feelings for Hajime, I appreciate that Hajime didn't immediately accept him, instead taking time to try and understand his own feelings and work through the grief of his forever unrequited love. This is the epitome of the high school romance experience, but with the added idealistic romantic experience of BL. With all that being said, these are a bunch of sweet little BL morsels. I'm not typically drawn to shonen ai, being a self-professed degenerate, but I love Junko storytelling, so when I saw this available, I couldn't resist. Though these aren't very long, they present multifaceted and detailed characters with sparse but rich backgrounds that quickly establish who they are. They're not expansive, of course, but even at their short length, they will leave you feeling fulfilled, as well as warm and fuzzy. Junko is a talented storyteller, and these are perfect examples of that skill. I highly recommend them. So, have you read Return of the Prince? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!